What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and of course to another episode, which this one's going to be a little bit different than we typically do. We're going to be talking about variations, why I collect variations, and why you should definitely collect variations in your collection. All right, guys, so this past probably 2 or 3 weeks or so, I've been reorganizing everything. If you guys remember, this used to be full of all of my supers, no matter if it was a Mustang or not. Now, the Mustangs, of course, did stay, which they should. But then everything else I thought should stay on this wall as a great showcase is on here. I mean, we have the latest 60 year, we have the Gran Turismo GT500, which I believe was the best GT500 Hot Wheels has released as a mid-level premium. Aside from the Stars and Stripes, that was another great casting. But we have the Snap-on Cobra, the Snap-on 65, the Japanese release of the Mach 1, Mustangs from the Mexico exclusive, as well as variations, Mexico exclusive Matchbox, just cars that I knew needed to be on this wall. So all of my supers are now sitting in that tote over here, and all of my final runs are also in that tote. Been spending a lot of time just cleaning things up, making this custom 3-pack right here. This one was the original out of the 3-pack, but it also came with the Cadillac ATS-V and the Lancia Stratos, which I wanted to have all 3 colors be together in one package since they were loose. And I think it came out pretty good. I've been doing that with a couple 5-packs here and there. We have this one that was released with a mixture with 2 Mustangs. And then I made another one with the mystery model. You have another exclusive out of a multi-pack. You have this coils one, and then of course the ones that came in the original pack. Also did a custom pack of the Mustang concepts in many different colors. Really wanted to keep those together. I used the Hot Wheels Exotics out of that one. So as I'm going along, there's some that I'm getting rid of and some that I'm keeping, but I'll just keep them in totes for now until I know for sure I don't need them. You clicked on this episode, guys, because we're going to be talking about variations, why you should add them to your collection, why I have them. I mean, it's basically down to how well do you want your collection to be? Do you want it to be just like everyone else, or do you want it to be unique? And of course, it just makes collecting a little bit more fun than if you go out there constantly being disappointed on new drops or if everything's being taken. So there's a lot of Mustang collectors out there. There's a lot with way more than I have. Like I've mentioned in the past couple episodes, I'm at 2,107 Mustangs for the collection. Well, actually 2,108, because I did find a new GT500 from Love's Gas Station. This is a 124 scale from Maisto, and they did a really good job on this one. I mean, the detail's really good, just like you would see from, you know, Jada or Big Time. But now we have 124, we have the 118, and we have 164 scale from Mini GT sitting over there. And then, of course, the Hot Wheels release, which was actually a race livery out of the set sitting over there. So when it comes to variations, guys, I absolutely love finding out what is different between each casting. Anytime I get a duplicate or someone gives me something, I'm like, oh, I already have it. I always make sure that there's no variation. And if there's not one listed, I want to make sure that it is pretty accurate as far as it's not an error. It is something that's been released. So I'll usually make a post about it. Someone else will typically post, oh yeah, I have that same one. And then you start to see a trend of maybe it is a variation. Now, nowadays, Hot Wheels doesn't come out with too many variations. They might do a re-release of, let's say, a premium, and everyone starts to assume that it's the exact same release over and over and over. Now, sometimes it is, but there's times where they might swap up the color of the interior, kind of like the Back to the Future Toyota pickup. First release was a dark gray metallic interior. The new one is a black interior. So they might look the exact same, but there are some subtle differences. There's some BMWs from the Fast and the Furious Premium that were released, I think, 4 times, but they change the shade of the wheel every time, or maybe a little bit detail on one. So there's variations out there still, but not like they used to focus back in the mid to early 2000s, especially in the 90s. They were really big on releasing variations. I've mentioned this one many times, mainly because it's easy to see them all right here. But these are the first editions of the Mustang in maroon metallic. There were wheel variations and base variations, along with interior variations. Now, what I have, we have the PR5s with the chrome interior. We have the FTEs. This one, I believe, has the chrome interior too. And that was what I liked about Hot Wheels. They used to tell you what color interior was inside based off of the Hot Wheels flame. So we have a couple of the PR5s. We have another PR5, but this one actually has a chrome base and black interior. So just another variation to compare next to this one. So there's times where you might be like, oh, I have that one, but you just got to look very hard. And then they came out with the chrome Y5s on this one. Now, I'm not 100% sure if there is a black interior to this wheel setup because this one's a chrome, but if there is, I will always try to find it, always look for it, and then reach out to other collectors to see, hey, is there one? And a lot of you guys comment and drop a lot of good facts. Lee Childs does the same. He gives me a lot of information. A lot of you do, so I really do appreciate all the helps and tips when it comes to variations. You know, and it wasn't till probably 5 years ago, maybe a little less, I started really diving into what variations are out there. When it came to the 68 tuned one, you have the blue one with the Boss Hoss, you have one without Boss Hoss, but then you have this one right here. You have the black base and then you have a chrome base. So two different base variations. One's more lime green than the other. And you have these right here, wheel variations, FTEs, 5 spokes, same color, just different wheels. And then same thing with this pink one. They are the exact same wheels, same bases. You would automatically think, oh, it's a duplicate. But Crane Cams is on one, Crane Cams is not on one. Those are listed variations, just like this purple one. The hardest one to find, which that could be debatable. A lot of people say like, oh, I find those all the time. It took me a long time before Grandpa Larry sent me this one with a red interior. Now you had the tan interior, chrome 5 spokes and chrome 3 spokes, but it was always the red interior one that was hardest to find. And then you had one release of the dark blue metallic with 5 spokes. No other wheel variations to that one. So anytime someone posts that they are trading these away, I always let them know, please double check because there are variations. I would hate for someone to give away a variation that's hard to find and then they regret it. Just like the 5-dot version of this yellow Mach 1. It's very expensive. In my opinion, I've seen them around 50, 60 bucks. They might have dropped since probably 2 years ago. I know these orange ones are kind of hard to find as well, but there's also a wheel variation to this one as well. You have the standard width size of the rear tire, which is a skinny type of kind of wide 5-spoke, whereas the Canadian release had a fat 5-spoke, which actually stuck past the fenders just a little bit. That one's also hard to find. There's a name variation to this one, or I think it's a spelling variation. That one's also kind of hard to find. But then you start going into the later years of Hot Wheels, they started not doing so many variations. When it came to the 98 Cobra, there were so many variations to this one. You had like this one right here, which has the Hot Wheels flame in the white C-stripe, whereas this one has it on the rear fender. So there are variations everywhere. You just really have to look and pay attention. Even when it comes down to packaging, I was about to open one of these up a couple years ago and my buddy was like, whoa, 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 don't open it. That is a package variation. I didn't even look close enough. I mean, you have the model of the 2005 Mustang and this one just has the tri-bar. 2 exact same packs, 2 different releases and 2 different variations. Just like the one I recently picked up right here out of the tuned muscle. These are the exact same cars, 2 different 5-packs. One's from 2010, one's from 2011. And with that, you can see that even these were out of the same year. So this one I could understand because 2 different year releases, but this one being the same year, That's what I mean. Like, there are variations that you just really got to pay attention to. This was another one. There is a hood opening version of that Mustang in the 50-year 5-pack, which I haven't been able to find that 5-pack so far, but I do have that casting. Where is it at? Right here, and it is loose. So this is the opening hood version of this one. Now, I just want to find the 5-pack with this in there, because it just makes it that much cooler to have two different releases of the 65 right before they switched the tooling. One was released and then they changed the tooling, and then everyone got this version right here. You know, and then here's another example of a wheel release. Like I said, I think one of them was a Walmart or Target, maybe Kmart. I will post it up here for you guys. But yeah, you have the 5 spokes with red lines, and then you had the OH5s. Same car, same series, but 2 different wheels, which I think made one exclusive to a store. Now, sometimes there are 2 different things to collect. You can have the casting variation, you could have wheel variation, interior variation, even Tampo color swing variation of listed color swings. The 98 Cobra is one of the prime examples of that one, because there are so many variations to it. You had like this blue one, you have one with the light tinted windows, and then one with dark tinted windows. Then you have like this one, you got 5 spokes and saw blades. You have these 3 Cobras right here with the dark green Tampo, then you have the lime green Tampo, and then you have the lime green Tampo with Cohen on the side. This one doesn't have Cohen. That is also a listed variation. There's country variations to it. There's a Malaysia, China, and Indonesia, which we have right here. But then you might start looking into package variations. A lot of them nowadays are just re-releases of these premiums. 69 Boss 302, just 2 different card arts. The wheels are the exact same. Interior, there are no differences between either one of these. The rear was the exact same. I tried looking at every inch or millimeter of this car, and there was nothing different about them. Matchbox did it as well. They re-release cars over and over. They don't change anything. Like these were just 2 different year releases, same exact car. They didn't even change the wheels up on any of them. You can collect package variations. You can collect casting variations, which I think are the most important ones. But there are people who hold a lot of value to card variations. Like this Green Lantern release of this Mustang is more expensive than the non-Green Lantern, which we have up here. And then there's a Walmart exclusive with the windshield banner on there. But it's not just Mustangs, guys. Every casting, for the most part, has a potential to have a variation. And we're going to dive into my JDM one to show you one that you probably should find for you, because JDM is pretty heavy and we have a lot of castings to go through. So let's go ahead and find my JDM one, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, guys, we're just gonna look through the MR2s first, because this one is probably the most modern release of a car that has multiple variations. And it's this MR2. You can see we have many white ones, a lot of red ones, and it's not because I like duplicates, it's because they're all variations. So we have this white one. I believe the teal was the first one. One of these came first, and then it was the red, and then they had the red premium version. But this one right here, this is a headlight down, and you can see in there it is right-hand drive. But then you have the same thing, headlight down, and this one is left-hand drive. You can see the steering wheel over here. Then you move into the headlight up version, which you have the pop-up headlights. This one is left-hand drive, and then the pop-up headlights for this one, and this one is right-hand drive. So there were 4 variations to this one, same exact wheels. You would have probably seen them like, oh, I have that one already. They're just re-releasing old stuff. And sometimes you just got to pay attention. They did the same thing with the red. They did the same thing with this one, which was more of the premium release. You have the headlight down, left-hand drive, and then we had this one right here, headlight down, right-hand drive. Never did find any more of these. I don't know if there's 4 of them, but you got the T-tops on this one, and then you had the sunroof on that one. They did the same thing out of this color. 4 variations of the titanium gray. It's not even silver. It's more of like a goldish gray. And then they did the same thing with the turquoise and the blue. I'm still missing the headlight down right-hand drive for that one. So that is just another example of what variations are out there. We can go ahead and dive into some more right now. Let's jump into some JDMs. Now, the R35 is very, very desirable amongst collectors. We all love our fast cars. We like JDM. And then you have the Guaczilla. A lot of people were passing these up back in the day. I liked the Guaczilla. I thought it was really cool. Tanner Fox R35. But there's a variation to this one. You see on the rear bumper right there, it is a smooth lower skirt. Well, there's a variation, and it is this one right here. This one has the well-known vented version. It's got the 3 vents or 2 vents in there, and that was a known variation on the R35s. You had the vented, non-vented, then we had them for the exclusive as well. This is the non-vented. I think I gave away my vented one. We have the gray ones right here. I think the most common one was the vented. The non-vented was kind of hard to find. When you're out there looking at R35s, definitely keep your eyes out for that one. There are grille variations to the 510. I don't have any of them, but you can see here it is a small mesh front grille. Then there was a larger mesh, and then there was a smooth grille. So there were 3 variations to this one. There's a new variation to the Audi Avant, which has the gas fuel door, and one does not have it. It was even found on the Zamac in case people thought it was just a paint buildup. It was in there. All right, for my Chevy lovers, I am a Chevy guy at heart, and there's a variation to the Chevelle as well. You can see them right here. This one, you have the Chevelle SS. This one has the thin pinstripe around the hood, as well as the trunk. These are all in near mint condition. I have 2 with the thin stripe. This one right here is the harder one to find. This one just has the bold stripe on there and no pinstripe. So if you want to compare them, there you go. Look at the 2 hood differences. This one's actually double stamped. This one has the thin stripe around it. Well-known variation, we have 2 of each, one with the pinstripe, one without. And then Fast and the Furious re-release. You have one with MC5s, one with PR5s. So don't ever write off a duplicate that you have in your collection, because there are just so many variations to find out there. These right here are probably I don't know, those are just beautiful Chevelles. All right, let's go back a little bit further into the 90s when Camaros were really big in variations and releases. We had black walls, you had 5 spokes, you had saw blades. You also had the ones without Jack Baldwin on there. This one has Jack Baldwin's name on there with the gold Ultra Hots. And then you had it released without his name on there. There was that one. We also had the blue enamel, which was more of the thicker, real durable paint. I mean, this is the blue enamel. Then you had a light blue. You had these right here with the 3 spokes, as well as the saw blades. Flipping to the other side, I mean, you had gold 7 spokes, white 5 spokes. Pretty much the same exact release, just changed up the wheels a bit. All right, continuing to dive into legit variations. We have the Zender Fact 4. This was another one of my favorite castings that came out in the late 90s. You had one with Zender Fact 4 on the side, then you had it released without it. You also had the Tampo variations. One was orange, one was yellow. I mean, the list can probably go on. There's a lot of variations out there. We have the Lancia Stratos, which you had the PR5s, the 5 spokes, the gold, then the gold PR5s with the striping, and then the gold PR5s without the striping. I think these 2 right here are actually duplicates, unless it's a base variation. Lancia Stratos, and yeah, Lancia Stratos. Now, you can really just, I mean, you can take a long time finding wheel variations, interior. Like these were common, you know, you had the different wheels on these. Now, if you really want to dig into this, I mean, you can start looking at even the stamping on the base for variations. Now, like this Camaro right here, I know everyone's going to judge because I have this one sitting on the hood. This is a really cool premium, But these two Camaros look the exact same, no wheel difference, no interior, no striping, but it all comes down to the base. You can see this one right here is a no country variation. There's no stamping of Malaysia, China, Indonesia, nothing. But then you come on to this one, and this one is actually stamped Malaysia. So that was actually another known variation to the yellow Camaro. There was probably a few more variations to the Camaros. I don't think I have any that I can showcase. And then here is almost, I'd say this is probably an expert level variation. You have this yellow one, which came with the 5 spokes, clear window, but then there is a variation to that one, and it's very, very subtle and hard to find as well. This is the pink window variation. So this one has a pink window, that one is clear. Now, the reason why some have miscolored windows like that, some may come pink, a little bit more orange, is because it comes at the end of the roll, which makes the plastic. There's a little bit of color distortion with that, so when you find those are kind of hard to come by because that was the end of that production roll for those windows. Mike Zarnock verified it. And the latest variation that's going to be, oh man, it's so hard to find, is the well-known Barricade Mustang. A lot of people didn't believe when I made the video saying that it was recalled because of the slogan on the side. And guess what? It was because of the slogan on the side. They removed it. They changed the number to the correct number. And now we have the new release, which actually has the correct movie accurate number of 643 versus the 948. I don't even know where they got that from. So the first edition release of it with the To Punish and Enslave is going to be a well-known variation, and of course a pricier one, because there are no more. They will never be produced as they were. They're all going to be this new iteration. So yes, some of those will hold value. When it comes to that, I'm definitely going to look into trying to get one. I've been trying for the longest, even offering multiple supers and chases, and nothing. And then finally, guys, the final variation that I am currently tracking is out of this set right here. The new 60 year, which came out in 2024 as the Silver Series Mid Premium. The 65 Mustang comes with a plastic base and a metal base with a slightly darker shade of blue. It's almost like a Spectre Flame blue. So it's not a chase. It's never been officially announced that it was. I don't know what the purpose of having one metal base. Probably out of 12 cases, one of them might be a metal base. I've heard a lot of people saying that they're finding more metals than plastic. On my end, we've had 9 drops and I've only found plastic bases. So it's out there. That's going to be another well-known release of a variation. So just keep your eyes out. But that is really it, guys. Variations are fun to collect, fun to find, especially when you're like, man, I really need that wheel variation. And then when you finally find it or trade for it, it is amazing. Much better than going out to the store, being disappointed that, man, all these scalpers are just buying up everything. Get into variations, get into packaging errors. I don't know, whatever your niche within our hobby is, get into it. It makes it less stress, more fun. And it just makes your collection that much more unique than someone else's. So hopefully this episode gave you a better insight on variations and errors and what to look for, and just give you the tips of how to just pay attention. Just look at them up close. When you get a duplicate, just compare to the one you have. You never know. It might be a simple country variation, or the font on the base, one's italicized, one's not. But yeah, collect errors, collect how you want, just have fun with it. I just wanted to give you an insight on how being a variation collector is just exciting to find. And maybe I showcase something that I have that you were totally not tracking and you're missing now, and now hopefully it sets you on a mission to go find it. So if you did, let me know down in the comments. But that is all I have for this episode, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a huge thumbs up. And of course, comment down below your thoughts. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you can stay tuned for all of our future episodes. And until next time, guys, this is the Mustang Hunter. Peace.